Good morning, everyone. It's good to have all of you with me. I'm so glad to have Craig Summerall with me. And I want to share with you some ideas about how you could leverage the current national anxiety that we have to turn it into an opportunity. These are interesting times. When we talked back in December, back in January, even back in February, no one would have predicted we would be dealing with this, and the whole country is learning to deal with this. We still don't know how to deal with this. The Congress is doing their part, your government is doing their part, everybody is doing their part. But the main thing is there is a part for you to play, a part that's going to help you keep your business in check. I want to give you some mindset ideas and some preparation for the wave. I want you to imagine real estate as a wave. It usually would have started about now. That's when we start going up that wave, the spring market. That has been kind of pushed a little bit, but that doesn't mean the wave is not there. It's there. You will notice that you're going to get more leads. So before I get going, I asked Craig to share his thoughts with us and give us like his mindset around this time. Good morning, Craig.
All right, thanks, Dee, and welcome everybody. It's certainly strange times, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your morning to join us. Hopefully, you've already been for a walk and you're out of bed and you're out of your PJs and things are going. I was thinking last night, and it was just something that I wanted to share with you, is that many of you don't know this, but this company actually started and flourished in the worst possible market, the real estate market, which was in 2008. And I don't want to diminish anything that we are seeing right now, but just want you to know and want to be clear with you that we have seen situations like this before. We have not only weathered situations like this previously, but we have certainly flourished in those times. So just for you to know, we've been here and we've got you and we've got you back. And I also want you to know that I have planned for situations like this with reserve funds. Quite honestly, it was always going to be for a hurricane or some kind of natural disaster like that. But regardless, I want you to know that as a company, we are stable. We certainly plan to keep our administrative staff, and we will continue to operate under what I call a new normal, at least for the immediate future. Administrative staff is here today, so we thank them for that. They're keeping everything going. We also thank the agents that are working remotely and not coming into the office so that we can control the spread of this virus. I just wanted to cover a couple more things real quick, and it was kind of a fear over fact. And I wanted you to hear it from me because you can get a sense, since you haven't been in the office, nobody's getting a look at the sales board and things like that. I wanted you to get a sense of what's going on here in the office. Fear number one, nobody wants to talk real estate. The fact is, people want to talk real estate. They want to talk about something other than the coronavirus. Call your sphere, your prospects, and your leads. From the feedback I'm getting, you're going to be very surprised by the results in a positive way. Fear, no one's writing contracts. Since Sunday, we've averaged 5 new contracts a day. 5 a day since Sunday. So the fear that nobody's writing contracts, we're not seeing that. Now we're seeing there's certainly going to be some instances of that. But 5 a day in an environment like this is pretty solid. The fear, listening to people who react emotionally to a situation. The fact is, certainly emotion is going to be a big part of this. But be that person who can react with clarity and with vision, and that person who can bring a sense of calm and direction. That's who you are as a trusted real estate advisor, that person who can bring some calm to the situation. I really want you to focus on taking this time to connect to people on a personal level. Just call and connect. You don't need to jump right into are you pre-approved? What's your budget when you want to move? This is an emotional time for folks. If we take the opportunity to connect on a more emotional level, when the market turns, and it will, and we see that spring market that Key referenced, you're going to see the benefits of that. Lastly, take this time to visit, if you haven't already, Real Agent 360. That's our office CRM that is designed to help you in scenarios just like this be able to manage your sphere of influence, be able to log your calls, schedule calls. So if you haven't looked at it yet, really want to encourage you to look at the CRM. It's on Hub REC. There's a link there. All you have to do is put in your email address and create your own password. It's super simple to use, and this is an incredible time to implement that. That's all I have. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Key.
Thank you, Craig. I'm glad that you see. For me, statistics, what is happening, how things are happening, matters. So let me give you guys some mindset thinking about this. So I'm going to start with this quote here. Consider this paraphrase about fear. Inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action breeds confidence and courage. If you want to conquer fear, do not sit home and think about it. Get busy and take action. So what we want to do is make sure that we are in the engagement business. We are taking action. The thing that we're going to suffer the most from these days, or a lot of agents are going to suffer from, I don't get the sense that you guys are struggling with this, but some of you may, is you're going to lose your good routines. You see, the biggest challenge is you guys have been building good business routines. They were daily. You knew exactly what to do daily. You were prepared. You woke up with purpose. You had a good to-do list. You had a good day set up. And right now, you may go, hey, man, who cares? And guess what? You can feel that way for a little while. But if you lose that muscle, that good business routine that you developed, guess what? When you're ready to bring it back, it has atrophied. It would be much harder for you to go back to your momentum. So be careful about sleeping too long, not getting dressed when you wake up. Those routines will catch up with you later. We're noticing that some people right now are basically focused on um, uh, too much TV. They are glued to their TV. They are scared about what's happening, and they think by knowing what's happening at every corner, they will be okay. You may get depressed more by watching the news than you realize it. Many have started drinking too early. Some people are actually, they're going, hey man, who cares? So where's the beer? Where's the alcohol? It doesn't matter. So I can start early. Be careful. That bottle of wine at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock is okay. At 10 o'clock in the morning may not be the right time for it. And finally, we must fight to keep our daily routines running through the business as though it was normal. Am I saying it's easy? It is not. But is it necessary? Absolutely. Trying to maintain your normal routine through these days that feel like too much is going on, I cannot breathe. Trust me, it's very hard. But you gotta stick with it. You gotta stay in that lane and make sure you know that you are going to weather this. So let's do a couple of things together. So I want you to focus on solutions. I want you to become the resource of all of the financial solutions that are going to be available to our neighbors, to our homeowners, to our sellers, to our buyers, to our renters. And I want you to remember to stay calm, professional, engaged, and I want you to have a thoughtful smile. You're not laughing at the situation, but you're not depressed by the situation. You are going for it. You're making things happen. You're engaging people. And the best engagers look for solutions. So the best solutions are local. You see, you can tell people what you watch on CNN. Eh, it is what it is. But if you become the kind of person who's looking at what's happening locally, what is Colombia doing? What is the government in Colombia doing? What is the county doing for homeowners, for home sellers? What is the financial industry doing? What are the rates? What is happening locally? What is happening at the county level? What is happening at the state level? What is happening at the national level? You heard that Congress just passed a $2 trillion relief bill right now to help the country through this hard time. Well, we need to know what's in it. What's in it, not from the point of view who gets it, who doesn't. Just like if you're a buyer, is there something there for you? If you're a seller, is there something there for you? If you're a homeowner, and you're worried about your mortgage, is there something there for you? If you're somebody who's renting, maybe with the relief effort, you can actually buy. I don't know what's in the bill, but you and I should do that. So I'm telling people to form a task force of agents together who are going to find out all of these solutions so that when we call our client and we say, how are you? What's going on? Talk to me. What's happening in your life? And they say to you something like, I lost my job, I'm a nurse, or I lost my job, I'm a bartender, what do I do? Do you know of anything the city, the county, the state, the national government is doing? You may have those solutions at hand, and you may say to them, call this number. They have a hotline for people who are not able to, pay the rent, or they may not have the ability to pay their mortgage. So find out what HUD is doing, find out what NAR is doing, find out what your local board is doing, find out what your MLS is doing, find out any resource. So I highly recommend that you dedicate every day about 30 minutes on these things. Now, you could sit in front of a TV and try to imagine that you can get all of this information by watching CNN, MSNBC. You're not. Trust me, you're not. They're going to talk about the problems of the country. They're not focused on the solutions to the country. I need you to be a provider of solutions, and your solution should be focused on financial, financial hardship, mortgage solutions, renters solutions, what's happening with buyers who want to buy now, what's happening with sellers who want to buy now, what's happening with the rates. You need to be a force of good. And you become a force of good when you educate yourself about what's happening, the new solutions. So maybe 3 or 4 of you can get on a call and say, okay, I'm going to focus on what HUD is doing. You focus on what the state is doing. You focus on that, and let's bring it together. And then maybe as a company, all of you can get together and put all of these solutions together. When I mean get together, I don't mean physically. You can use Zoom to get everybody on the call and start creating a document, a pamphlet of solutions. You can do this. Remember, we always get what we focus on. If you focus on the good, if you focus on the solutions, you will find them, and you will be that voice of calm. when your customers interact with you, they realize, aha, that person is not freaking out. That person is listening to me. That person is providing me with solutions. The second thing I want to share with you is what our friend Craig Summerall was referencing. He started his company during the worst downturn of the housing market and the worst part of the financial market. Banks were closing, financial companies were closing, mortgage companies were closing. It was really bad. That's all I can say. I can use harsher language, but guess what? When there is a crisis, there is always an opportunity behind it. So let me tell you what this graph means, because this graph is about you. Here's what it says. If you took 2019, which is last year, and you took 2018, and you looked at the number of listings that homeowners did, there were 5.34 million listings per year. So in 2018, there were by the way, this is in the United States, there were 5.34 million listings. And in 2019, there were 5.34 million listings. If you look at it at transactions, because remember, there's two sides to a transaction, there were about 11.5 million transactions each year if you include new construction and things like that. Now, if you average the last 10 years of the real estate industry, we average as an industry about 5 million listings a year. So once a year, we do about 5 million listings in the United States, which is a healthy clip. If you took the worst downturn, 2007, 2008, 2009, when the market cratered, when we had the housing crisis, we went down to 4.5 million. See, people thought that we went to zero. No, there were still 4.5 million listings per year. Granted, some of them were foreclosures. Yep. Some of them were short sales. It was difficult to do foreclosures and short sale and to see sellers lose their home. But the number did not go to zero. So imagine, average 5 million. When we created, we went down to 4.5. And the last 2 years, we did 5.34. Economists were predicting 2020, we were going to do about 5.5 to 5.6 million listings. We're going to do about 5.1, maybe 5.2. Some of you are going, but maybe it'll go down to 4.5. Okay, let's say it goes down to 4.5. It's not zero. So the question I need you to ask yourself is, are we falling off a cliff? No, we're not. Are people emotionally falling off a cliff? Yes, emotionally, sellers and buyers are having anxiety. And it's normal, but you need to be grounded in numbers. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you, we're going to have the biggest loss. Every year, this happens every year, by the way, every year we lose about 250,000 agents, meaning 250,000 agents in the real estate in the United States leave the business, another 250,000 come in. There's a turnover about 250,000. Well, guess what? This year, we're going to lose 350,000. So there would be less agents playing this game we call real estate. So we're going to lose an additional 100,000, and we're not going to get as many back. But you know what's going to happen? The number of transactions will not change because we lost them. That's the part about real estate that I want every agent to know. When agents leave the business, it does not affect the real estate transaction. The real estate transaction is going to happen. So our job is to realize, wait, I got to play my part. I got to be in the game. So let me tell you a truth that stings a little bit. This economic downturn is very real, and it's going to make the strong agents redouble their commitment to their career. You now have to go, you have more reasons to survive and thrive. Unfortunately, it's going to confront the dabblers, the ones who do real estate on the side. They do other things, but they also do real estate on the side. The dabblers are going to have to find out if they have what it takes to stay in it. And some of them do not have it. And that's a fact. It is what it is. Most of those people are doing about 2 to 3, maybe 4 transactions a year. They have a second income, or they have a partner they live in who makes the real living. So, but the bottom line of 80% of real estate being done by 20% of full-time agents is going to continue. And even though we're going to lose agent, that equation is not going to change. So here's my question. What are you going to do? Are you all in? Here's how you know you're all in. You maintain a discipline with your morning routine. You maintain a discipline about becoming really good on the phone. You work on your projects. So let me give you some mindset things you could do now to stay in that zone of discipline. And I want you to really be scared of your television. Your television at home should scare you because it can suck you in dry and leave you with nothing. So here's the reality. Some of your would-be buyers or would-be sellers are frozen by fear. You need to go, that's fine, I get it. Your job is to stay calm, strategic, and engaging. Engaging means let me listen to you. The second thing you need to know is fear dissipates when you can talk about it. Remember when you were a kid and you knew there were monsters under the bed? They were right there lurking to eat you alive. And your parents came home, your mom or your dad came to your room and said they had a flashlight. They showed you that there was nothing underneath, even though deep down you know that they hid and they're going to come back anyway. But that did give you a feeling like, okay, I'm going to survive these monsters. Well, guess what? Fear dissipates when you have light. So for you guys, fear dissipates when you give people numbers, when you give them solutions, when you tell them what is really happening in the market. Many of them just need a few weeks to get rid of that anxiety. But I can tell you this, that wave that we were hoping to come, that has been passed on, is going to grow. The wave is going to be taller. So when they come in, you better be ready. You cannot be a mess. You got to be all together. This is why you don't want to lose your routine. Your routine is your friend. So if you used to walk, you may have to walk by yourself, but do that. If you used to wake up at 6 a.m., continue to wake up at 6 a.m. Don't get seduced. I'm going to watch Netflix until midnight and wake up when I feel like it. Real estate is happening. But there's another concept, and most of you, I know personally, and most of you probably have been in my classes. Remember this concept I shared with you called life happens, then real estate happens? Again, let me say it again. Life happens, then real estate happens. What does that mean? Well, it simply means that when people are facing losing their jobs, when people are facing getting a promotion, when people are getting married, or when people are getting sick, or worse, when people die, when life happens, they make decisions about real estate. And you need to be prepared to help them through that process. So real estate is going to happen no matter what. Some of it will be good. That's what we want. But some of it will be foreclosures. Are we going to get more foreclosures this year? Probably. But it's not going to be 30% of the market. It's going to be probably an additional 5%. But that means we need to step up. We need to see what we can do for our buyers and sellers to find the opportunity for the buyers and also protect the sellers. That's our fiduciary as agents. So the real estate needs are not going to go away. Do not think that nothing is going to happen. Oh, plenty of real estate will happen. I predict that we're going to have more transactions this year because of the coronavirus. because it's going to force some people to take some actions. Some people are already deciding they don't want to live where they want to live, where they live right now. Some people are deciding they're moving out of California and out of New York. Well, guess what? You know where is the most attractive places that are still affordable, relatively speaking? The South. Columbia, South Carolina is one of the largest growing and stabilized market in the country. There's going to be more industry and more businesses moving here. So it's our job to prepare ourselves for that wave. That means we maintain our routines. What are some of the actions I want you to take? Well, I want you to work on your mindset. Get this right. Read good books. Work on a big project. You know those projects you've meant to do. You know that checklist that has in it that listing presentation you've always wanted to work on. You know that blog platform that you wanted to keep adding to that you haven't done recently. Maybe some videos you had some ideas for videos you wanted to do but you haven't done them yet. You know that to-do list that you have about what you need to do to get your business really shining. Well, guess what? This is the time to do it. This is the time to take that on and work on it. But if there's one thing you need to remember is engage, engage, engage. Don't sit on the sideline. Don't be an observer, be an engager. Talk to people. Be the person, be the calm in the middle of a storm. I like that metaphor that he shared with us, Craig Summerall. He said, we always prepare for the worst. We have always reserves. We are not going to let go of our administrators, which is a strong statement of financial stability. And guess what? We are also prepared for this. So because we always prepare for the worst case scenario. And I want you to select your news sources carefully. Yes, you'll be tempted to watch a little bit of TV. That's fine. You're going to be tempted to watch a little bit of news. That's fine. But curtail it. Make it as little as possible. Don't make it an all day long. Don't turn on the TV in the background and pretend it's not affecting you. It is affecting you. But focus primarily on local news, local government news, local county news, local state news to put together solutions. You're not telling people the bad news. You're telling them the solutions that you're watching and observing that you can share with your clients so that when they're freaking out, you can say, relax, I got something for you. Control your morning. Please go to bed early. Wake up early. Take time to reflect and plan your day. See if there's a project you should take on early in the morning. See something you wanted to work on. Remember that script on how to call people that you've been meaning to work on? Work on that. You know those friends you wanted to add to your Facebook account? Do that right now. Create a checklist that you're going to use and start implementing it right now. So let's do this exercise together. I want you right now to grab a pen and I want you to write on a piece of paper the proper healthy thought time you think you should go to bed at night. Pick a time that you know is healthy for you to go to bed. Write it down. Next, I want you to write down the time you choose to wake up in the morning that will be good for you. Like if you're depressed, you will have a tendency to want to stay in bed longer. If you're energetic and ready to work, you will wake up earlier. Ask yourself, what would be a good morning routine for me? Am I a 5 o'clock kind of person? Am I a 5:30? Am I a 6? Am I a 6:30? And stick with it. And I want you to write this. Write something down right now for me if you don't mind. I'll give you a minute to do this. Can you write 2 or 3 healthy morning routines that do not involve work, do not involve television or news, that you would do in the morning? We call that me time or family time. What can you do in the morning? What are 2 things that will be healthy for you? Could be reading a book, Could be reading your Bible, could be going for a walk, could be preparing breakfast for your kids, could be getting your kids ready, could be listening to music, could be meditating, could be doing your affirmation. It doesn't matter. I want you to write 2 to 3 morning routines that you consider healthy, that are good for you. I'll give you a minute. See, if you maintain that morning routine, you're building healthy habits so that when your business really comes roaring, you're ready for it. And by the way, do not assume that business is not happening. Business is happening. I'm talking to brokers, I'm talking to agents. Business is happening. We don't want to go stick our hand in the sand and be scared. We want to engage, engage, engage. So, smart agents feed their mind. They always make time to read a good book. They have a journal where they write their ideas, their fears, their insights, and they send messages of gratitude daily. They pick 1 or 2 people or more, and they send them a message of gratitude. I'm thinking about you. Keep going. Or I hope to talk to you soon. I miss you. Anything that you feel that is gratitude or positive message that you can send to people, that will make them feel good, but also make you feel good about sending a positive message that feels good. So um, this. Consider putting in your routine reading a good book. I mean, you already know my books. You can take a screenshot of this. Some of you who need a little bit more discipline in your life, maybe this is the book for you. Organize tomorrow, today. Maybe this is the book you need to be reading right now so that you are ready for the wave of business. For some of you who need to become better negotiator, and you got to go, I got to become better at having people say yes to me. This is a good book. Yes, 50 scientifically proven ways to get people to listen to you, to become a little bit more persuasive. So this could be the book for you. But you have a list in front of you. I'm sure you could decide which one is for you. Just nourishing your mind will get you out of depression or out of that thing like nothing is happening. Plenty of things are happening. You're going to be the solution providers. So I'm going to tell you what you're good at. And I want you to take me up on it. I'm going to say, here's what you're good at. You are good at listening to your clients. And you're good at listening with intention. That means when you're listening to them, you're taking notes. You're good at that. Well, guess what? We need you now more than ever. Right now, we need people like you talking to our clients who are freaking out because you're a good listener. You developed that skills over years of being in real estate. Now you got to put it to work. You are also good at reframing. Now, what is reframing? Reframing is the act of listening intently to someone, understanding what they just told you, validating it, and then saying it back to them a little differently so they get that you heard them carefully. We call that reframing. Reframing is a skill. Uh, Most of you do it naturally. You know how to reframe with things. And the third skill you have is called injection. You know how to humanize the conversation. What does that mean? You know how to include the name of the person as you're talking to them. So let me give you an example of reframing and injecting the name. You would say something like this. So if I'm hearing you right, Jim, we're going to wait until your supervisors give you your new schedule before we can proceed and see properties, correct? He goes, yeah, exactly. I just need that schedule. I said, perfect. Let's add that to our checklist. I'm going to write it down right now. Let's talk now about getting qualified for a loan. Let's make sure we have the finances ready. You told me that you already got your 2 years tax returns, Jim. Am I right? You got your 2 years? And he goes, yes. I said, perfect. So I'm going to put us in touch with the mortgage person, and then we're going to make sure that we have all our ducks in a row financially. End of scene. What you notice I'm doing, I am engaging, I am reframing. Basically, that person told me something and I said it back to them. And to make them feel part of the conversation, I inject their name. This is what you guys are good at. Some of you do this naturally. You don't even think about it. You don't think of it as a listening skill, a reframing skill, and an injection skill, but you do it. So this is the time for you to use these skills. Engage people, talk to them. Here's what I want you to do. I want you, if you can, please try if you can. I want you to spend at least 2 hours on the phone with people. But I'm going to give you my methodology. I'm going to share with you how I want you to work on nurturing your clients. I don't want you to work until you break. No. I want you to do 35 minutes of phone calls, just follow up, new business follow up. You always have new business. You do 35 minutes of follow up. You have a script in front of you, and you call for 35 minutes. You make your calls to follow up. Then I want you to take at least 10 minutes to 15 minutes of a break. Hydrate. Make sure you always have water with you. Walk around the area. Make sure you are always, shaking it off. Like you do a task, take a break. Be distracted. If you want to check your Facebook for a few minutes during that time, absolutely. But what you don't want to do is during that 35 minutes of new business follow up to be distracted. You want to be as focused as you can during that 35. Then you take 10 to 15 minutes and you take a break. Then what you do, you're going to do about 35, 30 minutes, you decide, of referral calls and sphere of influence calls. You're just going to work on your past clients and you're just staying in touch. You're just simply saying what's going on. Now imagine if you had next to you a document that had all of the resources available to people. And as you're talking to that person and they tell you, I'm afraid about not being able to pay the mortgage. My wife got laid off and we don't have any income. And then you'll go, wait a second, I got a solution for you. I want you to call this number. This is what they want you to do if you're not able to pay your mortgage, so they can give you 90 days extension. So imagine if you're calling your referral and your sphere of influence and you have that document with you. You're now providing solution. And that person will remember that it was you who helped them stay calm and breathe and say, we got you. Don't worry. Don't freak out. Then you take another 10, 15-minute break. I'm a big believer in breaks. You work a little bit, you take a break. You work a little bit, you take a break. And then you work on your boomtown, on your lead generation, on your CRM, and you work on it for 35 minutes. Some of you go, but Key, I need to work on it more. That's okay, as long as you work on it in chunks. Work 35 minutes, take a 10, 15-minute break, shake it off, walk away from it, and then come back to it. Don't work so intensely that you lose the joy from your face. You still want to have a smile on your face. You're making phone calls. The most important skill on a phone is how you smile at the right time. So people can consider you as a person they can engage, a person they can talk about. They consider you as a positive person that they can actually interact with. So consider doing at least this. If you cannot do 2 hours a day, pick one, pick 35 minutes. But it cannot be zero. Because if it's zero, you know what happens? You will lose the muscle. That muscle that you developed over the years of being good on the phone will atrophy. And then when you need it in a few weeks, you won't have it anymore. So please Make time for this. This is important. And for those of you who've been in my classes, I'm going to remind you about the 4 phases of a phone call. Remember, any call you make is made up of 4 phases. What are these 4 phases? Well, the first one is calling the clients. Well, before you call the clients, you got to be prepared. If I'm calling my referral people, I got to make sure I have the solutions next to me. I have a script in front of me. I have a smile. I have my phone script. I have my follow-up questions, and I have a place to take notes. So what I do, we call this the preparation stage or getting ready to ring the client. So that's phase 1. Phase 2 is the reason. Why are you calling them? See, right now you have the best reason. And second, they're at home doing nothing. They need to talk to someone. They want to stop watching CNN or MSNBC or whatever they watch. Always have a reason to call. Let them know I'm just checking in. I just want to make sure, are you in distress? Do you need anything? Do you have any housing question? Do you have any real estate question? I have solutions. If you have questions, I may be able to help. We call that the reason. The third one is called the ask. Make sure you ask them to do something for you. It may not have to be with buying or selling. It may be about, do you know anybody else who is worried about their real estate needs that I can help? So you may ask for a referral in a different way. And then finally, you guys know this, the validation. Whatever they tell you, they get to be right. You don't get to judge their answer. You get to hear them loudly. You get to reframe. You get to inject their name, and you get to have a positive conversation. Now, will it lead to a deal? Probably not. Not always. Does it sometimes? Oh, yeah. If we get you right, your business will be right. You just need to be right. If I can get you grounded and realize, oh my God, there's a lot of opportunity here, you're going to be just fine. So remember these 4 phases: preparation, the reason, the ask, and the validation. Consider today going on Zoom.com and getting your free Zoom account. Zoom allows you to do video conferencing similar to what you see in here. This is GoToMeeting, but Zoom is about the same. So maybe you can start doing your consultation on your laptop. They're on their phone. They see you, you see them, and you can do your consultation. So maybe your meetings, you can move them to Zoom. And the beauty of Zoom is they have a free version that allows you to connect up to 100 people. All of you should have a Zoom account. And what's the beauty of it is, if you have a Zoom account, you can start testing it. This is the time to learn how to use it. And Zoom is compatible with laptops, PCs or Macs. It is compatible with your Android phone. It is compatible with your tablets. It's compatible with your iPhone. It's compatible with all of your devices. So now you could do, see, for me, Zoom is much more than FaceTime. With Zoom, you can have a presentation that you can go through the bullet points. You can present an offer through Zoom and record it. And that could be a way for you to present an offer. As you email it to them, you go over it through Zoom. You can go over the listing, your listing presentation using Zoom if you want. But I just want you to use this time to learn how to use it. So go get your free account. It's free. Second, make sure you go to this section called How To and learn how to use it, because it's going to be very useful to you. Let me finish with this success idea. Success is connected to your actions. Successful people keep moving. They make mistakes, but they don't quit. They keep going. Their mindset is keep going. There's opportunity behind this. There's always opportunity when things are dark. I hope you continue with those opportunities.